In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the buttons module in Squareflo CMS. This module allows you to create buttons that you can place on any page or in any post. So to get started, click on the module, then click Add a Button. Give the button a name. I'm working on the Flowprint website, so I'm gonna create a button called Request a Quote. The first field, the name of the button, is for internal use purposes because you could potentially have multiple buttons in the module, so this helps you identify the button. The second field will actually be the wording of the actual button. So here you can see once I enter text into the second field, the button preview shows me my actual button with some text. Now these are Bootstrap buttons. If you're not familiar with Bootstrap, just briefly, Bootstrap is the framework that we use to build most of our templates or most of our front ends for our websites. You can learn more about Bootstrap by going to Bootstrap.com, just if you want to educate yourself. And if you search for buttons, you can see that these are the buttons that are available. And typically what you would do, depending on the style or the size that you want, you would copy this code and then change the class of the button, to change the color or to change the size. There you can see it says button LG, which means button large. Now, instead of having to manually copy this code and figuring out all the different classes, we built this button generator, which allows you to just click and basically build a button like that. So I'm calling this button Request a Quote. Here are the sizes that I can choose, starting off with default. If I go large, it'll increase the size. Then I can choose one of the colors that are available. Now, just something I need to mention here. These colors are the default Bootstrap colors that you can see here. However, depending on your particular website, we might have actually changed some of these colors. So you might still see it as these colors when you're creating the button, but when the button is actually on your site, it might be a slightly different color, depending on your site setup. But I'm going to choose, for example, I'll just stick with the success, which is green. Then you can choose the width. Auto would basically just set the button to automatically be the width of the text plus a little bit of padding. And if you say full width, the button will go 100% of the width of whichever column it's in. So if you've got this button in your body of your text, it'll be as wide as that column. I'm just going to say auto. You can also opt in to show an icon. So I'm going to say yes for icon. And then you can choose which side you want the icon to appear, like which side of the text, on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. By default, it's set to left. I'll leave it. And then you can choose one of these icons. So if I just quickly click on one of these, you'll see that the icon appears on the left. Now you can go through this list and pick an icon that better suits your button. I'm going to go for this pencil icon here, but I also just want to show you that you can search for icons by just typing something in the search box, and then you can choose the icon. So there, I've got my icon. And then finally, you can choose where you want the button to link to. So I'm going to say I want this button to go to the contact form when it's clicked, and then I'm going to click publish. Now I've got my button. Now I can go to any page. For example, I'll go to my About Us page, and I'll see a new icon appearing in the text editor. If I click on this icon, I'll see there's my one button. If I had multiple buttons, they would all be listed here. I can go anywhere in my text, just put my cursor down, then select the button, and that will insert a little tag, which would look like this. If you just hit publish, wherever that tag appears, that's where your button will appear. So if I go to the About Us page, you'll see there's my Request a Quote button. You see the button is styled based on the fonts that are used by the site. So it looks slightly different than it looked in the button creator or in the module. And now if I click on this, it should take me to the contact form. There we go. So that's how easy it is to create buttons with our button module. You can create multiple buttons. For example, if you want to put a request a quote button on every blog post that you post to your site, you don't have to create a button each time. You can create one button and then just select the button from the text editor, the button icon. So here are my blog posts. If I want to add this button to one of my blog posts, let's say at the bottom of this one here, we'll just go select my button here. There we go. Now I've got this button in two places on my website. If I go make a change to the button, for example, if I go change the color, that change will be applied to everywhere the button is being used. So that's one thing that's convenient about this module, is that you don't have to go and change the button everywhere where you place the code if you were doing it the manual way. So there you can see it's orange now, and if I go to the blog, let's just see I just go to see what post I actually put it on. Okay. I'll just go to the blog here. So I added the button to this post as well. There we go. So that's how the module works. Hopefully you can use it to create some call to action buttons. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Just email support@Squareflo.com. Thank you for watching.